What's going on, guys? Ghost 4H Delta X-Ray Studios. So a couple days ago, I was 3D modeling a cabinet for Unreal Game Engine for one of the games that we're currently working on, and I couldn't find a cabinet door texture that would match the color of the cabinet grain that I guess just the cabinet texture that I was using. So what I ended up having to do is I had to end up creating, like 3D modeling an actual door for the cabinet, and then I ended up having to bake it into a texture. And I didn't really find anywhere on how to bake these type of textures. So I thought, you know what, let me go ahead and maybe be the first one to upload a video like this. Hopefully help you guys out. So if you guys need to say like there's a front door in your head, you know exactly how you want it to look, but you can't find that texture anywhere on the internet. So what you could do is you could actually 3D model it, bake the texture, put it in GIMP, edit it the way you need it, and then bring it back into Blender, and then put the texture on like a plane or a cube, whatever you're needing it on. And this is really gonna help, because you don't want to 3D model a really awesome looking door and have all those tries up, unless you're doing maybe like just you're just trying to do like a showcase or something. You're just trying to show a render in the Unreal Game Engine. But anyway, back to back to this here. So basically, what I'm going to show you is so I just 3D modeled this. So it's just a couple of cubes. I just went ahead and scaled them to what I needed them to. UV unwrapped them, and this in the middle here is a plane. Just I scaled it and UV unwrapped and UV unwrapped it too. So anyway, so what I need to do next here is actually go ahead and I need to make sure all this is good. Control J, join it all together. So just to keep the video short is why I 3D modeled this first. Otherwise, it would have been like a 20-25 minute video of me doing all this, making sure everything was proper, and I didn't want the video to be super long. Anyway, so we're going to do this in Cycles Render. We got our 3D object. We've already UV unwrapped it. The next thing we need to, next thing I want to kind of point out here is in the scene panel here. If you're having issues with importing your stuff from Blender to Unity or Unreal and it's just not proper measurement the way you want it, one thing you want to make sure you're not doing is make sure, like, okay, I'm scaled in right here. Right now in the upper left hand corner, we don't have anything. It doesn't say inches or feet or anything. So most people are probably like, oh, units present, let's do this, and I want this to be feet. One of the bad things about doing that is no matter what it shows in Blender, it's not going to convert it right in Unreal or Unity. So what you want to make sure you do is go down to length and make sure you do like imperial or metric, whatever one you're wanting to use. Now you can see I got feet up here, because what you don't want to do is be right here where it's in inches and say I want this to be feet, and then spend like 2 weeks 3D modeling everything in. Say if you weren't modularly building in Unreal or Unity and you 3D modeled everything in Blender and imported it in, it would look great, if you were like a mouse or something. But if you would have said, hey, I want this to be feet, when actually it's actually inches, you would end up making like a 1250 square foot or 1250 square inch house rather than 1250 square foot. So make sure you stay away from the unit present. Make sure you go to length and do imperial or metric. So I just kind of wanted to point that out, help you guys out a little bit. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Shift A. I'm going to grab a plane here. I'm going to hit 7. I'm going to drag this plane over. And you can actually see right here that it's not exactly perfect on this. But this is just for demonstration purposes, and I'm trying to make the video really quickly. So you'll have to forgive me on it not being, absolutely perfect. You can see right here it's not connecting. You want to make sure everything's connecting and nothing's like you want to make sure trying to think how to explain this here. Pretty much don't do this. Don't have that, because that's going to show up in your image. So if I've already actually conjoined everything, so if I just kind of hold this here, grab this here, and I'd come over here and grab that. Let's see if I can there we go. I was able to grab that. Let me just go ahead and fix that real fast. There we go. Tab back out. So I'm going to bring this up. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to split the screen. Bam, just like that. Hit T. I'm going to go to the UV editor, and I did something just symmetrical, so width and height I could just do 1024 by 1024. We're going to call this door 2, and hit OK. I'm going to tab over. I'm going to UV unwrap this, make sure it's fit inside the plane there. I'm going to grab this bottom, I'm going to grab this top. We're doing this in Cycles Render, not Blender Render, so if you thought you were going to be clever and go to Blender Render first, you don't need Blender Render, you actually need Cycles Render. Anyway, it's kind of the same thing as baking a ambient occlusion or a normal map, stuff like that. Go to selected to active, but in combined, or in the bake type, switch it from combined to diffused. And then the next thing we need to do actually is we actually need to grab this guy here. We actually need to make a material for him. I almost forgot. Shift A, texture, image texture. We're going to connect him to the diffuse and make sure in the image texture we do the UV map that we created. So we're going to grab the bottom, we're going to grab the top here. We're going to come into the camera and let's bake. Circular dependency from image door 2 from object plane. So it's working. Baking the texture is going pretty quickly. The texture will be kind of dark, but we're going to pull it up in GIMP. Bam, just like that. Image, save image as. We're going to go to door 2. Oh, that is in documents. We need desktop, so it's just easier to find. Minimize that. So now we got door 2. We're going to open door 2 up. Okay, we're going to come over here into colors. Now, don't do any like brightness and contrast exposure. Don't do any of that stuff, because if you do that, it is going to change the way the coloring of it. And if you do that, you're probably going to have issues later on down the road with the door matching the same color as the cabinet. But I'm going to kind of drag the levels down a little bit to brighten it up a little bit. Okay, file. We're going to go ahead and export as. Door 2, we're going to go ahead and export, save, replace, export. Okay, we got that. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to colors, desaturate, color to gray. Of course, it's got this little box. Watch for that little box. If it's got that, you're going to need to cancel and redo it. I'm not totally for sure why it does that, but it does it. Okay, so there we go. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm actually going to find the levels for this now. And we'll just kind of darken a little bit. And there we go, just so that we have some actual variation here. So now you got to remember it's a roughness. So in a roughness map, black is reflective and white is non-reflective. So we don't want this over here to be reflective. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go to colors and we're going to need to invert this. Now that is going to be very, 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 very reflective. So what we're probably going to need to do is we need to come down to levels here and just kind of see if we can maybe brighten it up a little bit. That's going to look like shit. This is just for a demonstration. I'm just gonna say that demonstration purposes. That is my excuse. This is a demonstration, just showing you how to do this. So export. So basically, we baked our texture. We got our texture. We brought it into GIMP. We made our specular map here. So now I'm going to go ahead and close that down. Discard changes. I'm going to back in Blender here. I was trying to think what the hell I was doing. Now I'm going to switch this back to Blender Render, and I'm going to select both of these. And probably what actually I'll need to do is I actually need to grab this top one here, and we're going to bring it back to door 2 because we no longer need that texture because it is obsolete now. Selected to active, and I'm going to make a displacement. Oh, excuse me. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, so let me grab this bottom one here. Grab this here. I'm just going to kind of drag it down a little bit. Grab this top one. Let's try baking displacement again. It's not going to come out the best, but it hopefully will come out, better whenever we do it. So save image as, and then we want door 2 displace. I'm just going to call it that real quick. And make sure we are saving it in the desktop. Yes, okay, save image as. Next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up my map creator that I've done. Make sure I switch this to Blender Render. I'm going to select this, new. Control Z. So I need to figure out where the hell that went. Okay, new. Let's open this up. And now it's kind of it's the same concept as the other video I made. Oh wow, that is really jacked up. That did not come out the way it was supposed to whatsoever. Wow, ouch. That's really bad. It's funny because I've done this so many times, and I find it funny that this is the first time that it's ever been super jacked up like that. And you can see we're starting to get those edges and stuff there. So Shift A, mesh plane, drag it up, tab over, UV unwrap, say new, and this is gonna be door 2 normal. Just because I don't want the grain, I just want the illusion that it's gonna look, you know, like it's bumped. So grab both of those, give it a second. Okay, grab here. Let's go to bake. Selected active. We want normals and bake. This will take probably about 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds, probably to bake this. So basically, we got our roughness map, we have our baked texture, and then we're getting our normal map, and then we're gonna actually come back in, and you can see right here, like up here, it's not gonna look the best because there is no actual distinguishment up here. Distinguishment. I just made that fucking word up. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. So okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that. Yeah, I don't need it no more. Like I said, this is for demonstration purposes only. Blender render. So now I want to grab all this, X delete. I'm going to come over here, join area, join it over there. Shift A. We're just going to make a plane. And this is just to show you that it's going to work. I'm in Blender render. I need cycles render. Just drag it up. So now what I want to do is I want to hit new, Shift A, texture, image texture. I'm going to connect that there. Open, go to desktop, and I want the door 2 image. Tab over, smart, or I guess UV unwrap works too. So this is the texture that we baked. We corrected the brightness inside of GIMP. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to blow this up here. I'm going to grab this, X, Shift A, shader. We're going to make a principled shader. I'm going to connect that in there. Shift D, drag it down, Shift D, drag it down. Connect that into the normal. Connect this into the roughness. We need to turn these to non-colored datas, or data, however you guys want to pronounce that. So first we need the roughness, Shift A, we need a vector normal map, and then we need to cancel out that, open up again, and grab our normal map. So now we control up, and okay, I did switch it. So now Shift A, lamp, let's bring our lamp in here. Drag it over. Drag it way up. Okay, so the weird thing is why is it not? That is super fucking weird. Wow, I wonder why it just did that. That's not connected here. There we go. Figured it out. I was like, that is so fucking weird. Anyway, so that is our end result from our, baking the texture and then using the baked texture to make a roughness map and to make a normal map. So, guys, I hope this video helped you out. This was how to, if you didn't know how to get, if you want to 3D model a door and then bake the texture onto a plane and then put it in GIMP and edit it the way you needed it, this is one way to do it. Or if you want a fancy ceiling, it's another way, using this method can also work out. You can also see up here that whenever I was in GIMP, I should have actually cropped to selection. I didn't do that because this, like I said, this is a demonstration. That's my excuse. So anyway, if there's ever a texture that you need that you cannot find, if you could find a texture to use, like I did, like using just a basic wood grain and then make just a basic cabinet door, and then UV unwrap it, bake the texture, and from the baked texture make your roughness and your normal and your height, your displacement, do all that, and put it back in Blender, and make sure it all works before you bring it into a game engine. So, guys, I hope this video helped you. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you. So, until next time, guys.